All right, we are live here. And if you're just joining me, listen, this is my first real live on YouTube. Haven't done it before, so we're going to see how this goes. But I want to thank you for joining me. David Pascarew from Purely Imagined Studios is here, and appreciate you, buddy. Thanks. He's one of my raving fans. I appreciate him. A raving fan of his as well. David, actually, we met at my Master Networks networking group at one of the chapters that I run through his partner Alan. And if you check out my YouTube channel, if you go to some of the videos after this, check out the videos. When you look at my bumpers, you're going to see that those bumpers are what David and his partner created for me to help me blow up my channel. So the channel is Unleash My Beast Brand. If you're watching it live, you know that already. If you're catching this on replay, #replay. And let me know any comments you have. But like I said, this is the first time I'm doing this. So look, things are going to happen. I know there's going to be problems. I know something's going to happen. I may even get shut down. You never know. But thank you for joining me here. And so what we're going to do today is I want to talk about my story a little bit, because my story is the one thing that has, for sure, I'm telling often. And a lot of times people are reluctant to tell their stories. And I think that's one of the most important part of it. You know, I started out as a graphic designer. I'll get more into that in a minute, but I did that for decades. I was working a job for decades. And I'll tell you a little bit how I became a brand strategist, which is what we're going to do here today. So this is really kind of a test slash, let's see how this goes content-wise. We're going to talk about my story a little bit. Maybe I'll go down memory lane and show you what things used to look like before the Beast brand came out. I know not really, I don't think anybody even knows, because that's how bad it was. That's how bad my brand was. It was just invisible. It was unmemorable, and I got basically no clients. It was a horror show. And it was a horror show because I was all over social media. So if you're doing a lot on social media and nobody's listening, you need a new brand for sure. And I needed a new brand at the time. So we got Master Networks NYC here. Good to have you guys in the house. And let's see. So we are live, and this is Building Beast Brands Live. And I'm going to be doing this each week. Now, the whole idea behind this was, so I set a goal for 2021 back in 2020. In fact, I spent the whole year of COVID thinking about maybe possibly starting a serious YouTube channel. Prior to that, I had really been uploading videos to YouTube and just storing them there and letting them sit there and just sharing them out on LinkedIn. And just trying to build up a little bit of a following on LinkedIn, maybe get some clients out of there, build a little influence, you know how that goes. But I never really got to YouTube as a thing and as something I should build. But as COVID was going by, I thought, I need to diversify my income. And I talk about this with people all the time. I'm a branding guy and I run a branding company, but I have a couple of other businesses. And the whole idea behind diversification is don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, everybody has heard this before. We know this to be true, but yet so few do it. Most people go out and get a job. They do that one thing and they pray God, please God, nothing ever happens, right? But that wasn't the case for me. Although I was pretty employable for many years, there was a time when actually I went from the time I started in my career out of college, back in 1989. It seems like forever ago, yet it seems like yesterday. And what happened was I got a job and I was happy and I got real content, and I never got laid off until 2013. And in 2013, I experienced my first layoff, and that was kind of like an eye opener. I thought, wow, I can't believe I got laid off. I've never been laid off before, but by then I had developed a lot of confidence. And so I had no problem. I thought, I'll get another job, no problem. And that started my journey along the way of, going through the job world, starting to get disenchanted with the job world. Even though I was at my core, I was a job guy. I was, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Mostly no, ma'am, because most of my bosses were women. And I don't know how that happened. It just did. Maybe that's the creative industry for you. I'm not really sure. But most of my bosses were women. And not that that's either here or there. It doesn't really make a difference. But it was always whatever you need. Yes, no problem. We know how that goes. When you have a job, you get used to the phrase, no problem, right? You agree with me? I mean, that's what you do because that's what you need to do to keep a job. So I got used to that. And, traveling through the job world, job after job. By that time in 2013, it was like job after job. Although, as I look back, I had many jobs, but it was always because I left. Usually when people leave jobs, it's because we want to earn more money. Because what's the best way to earn more money when you are working a job? You go get another job where you maybe embellish your resume a little bit, maybe fudge it a little bit, and, put it in the comments if you've ever done that, hashtag fudge my resume. Did that plenty of times, not too much. I never wanted to misrepresent, but, you got to play it up a little bit in order to get to the better job. And then you do what I did every day of my job, which was what you don't know, you just figure it out. In fact, I remember I worked for a publisher one time, and every time I went in the boss's office, she would say, hey, I got an idea. I want to do this. She goes, we can do this, right? In other words, you can do this, right? My answer was always like, oh yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. No problem. Right. Here we go again. And I would walk out of the office and I'd be like, man, how am I going to do that? And the answer is you figure it out. And that actually became a lesson for me as an entrepreneur. I think as an entrepreneur, your number one job skill is figure it out. And so I learned that along the way. And then I was taught that as a skill set, right? You figure it out. Master at Meeta, my pal Maggie's here. Never fudge my resume. Hey, Maggie, I had to do it at the time. You got to do what you got to do to pay the bills. I got 4 kids. and I got 4 kids. So, had to level up the income, so to speak. And so I didn't lie, but, you play with words, right? So now I'm a brand strategist. I'm a branding coach, and words are part of what I do. Although my background is graphic design. I'm a graphic designer for over 30 years. That's my degree. I got a degree in graphic design and advertising. But, I became a word guy over the years. I spent 14 years working for a publisher. And when you work for a publisher, it was a magazine, and they got really good at selling magazines on the newsstand. How do you do that? You write compelling cover lines. And I'm going to tell you, more thought went into the cover lines to sell the magazine than actually went into the magazine. I mean, when you read the articles, it was like they were regurgitating other people's material. And no discredit to them, they were providing good information, but the time that was spent by the editor-in-chief and the senior editor looking at the headlines on the wall, they would paste them up on a bulletin board, they would pin them up there, and they would look at them, and they would agonize over one little word. And not that that's a bad thing, because the thing was, those words, the word choices, might determine another 50,000 copies sold. That's the truth. So the words were critical. So I realized at that time, they taught me words were critical. Words are super critical. And so I never lied on the resume, but I used words that made it sound like got imposter syndrome here. We could talk about that too another time, imposter syndrome. I know a lot of people get that, but I just use creative words on the resume, and it was never really lying, but it always made it sound a lot better than maybe it actually was. But here's the thing. I heard this a long time ago and it resonated with me. A mentor of mine said, because I was very indecisive, couldn't make quality decisions, would paralyze me from moving forward because I never wanted to make a mistake. Can you relate? Give me a hashtag, never make a mistake. If that's you, I get it. But what he said to me was this. He goes, Rob, you just need to make a decision and then make it the right one. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Once you make it, it's done, right? There's nothing you can do once you make a decision. And he's like, no. He goes, you make it right with what you do in the follow-up. All your actions after that will not determine really, but make it the right decision. So you make the decision, then you make it the right one. So you basically commit to a direction, and then you make the circumstances make that the right decision. You got to learn what you need to learn. So on my resume, if I embellished slightly, I wasn't lying in my eyes because I went out and I learned the skill. By the time the rubber met the road at the job, I knew the skill. And that's how I leveled up so many skills over the years, which allowed me to someday own my own business, which I did in 2015. Again, that's a part of the story. And so, I was on this, I'm in this course, this YouTube course to learn how to just crush the channel this year. I started to talk about that earlier, where that was my goal. So 2020, back to that story, 2020, I was thinking about boosting the YouTube channel, not boosting it, actually creating it. The videos just lived there, but man, they were not doing anything. I had a total of, I think I had, not that I have that many subscribers now, because this is just starting, but I had 12 subscribers. And I think a couple of those were mistakes. People, like spam bots or whatever it is that were crawling and, wanted me to respond. And I think each one of those were one of my kids and then my wife and even my mom. You could always depend on mom to support you. So I think that's what made up my 12 subscribers, which was 12 subscribers for many years. And nobody ever watched the videos because they were really not there to be watched on the channel. They were just being stored in YouTube, right? Is that making sense? So in 2020, I took most of that year while building my brand business, thinking, I want to launch a course. I want to teach people about the power of branding. And I didn't know what that exactly looked like yet. Yes, Rob is live. Thank you, Master Networks New York region. My Master Networks people in the house. Appreciate you guys so much. Best organization. If you're watching this by chance on replay and you don't know what Master Networks is, made a big impact in my life. I probably won't get into that too much now, but a great networking organization. Met some of my closest friends through there and met great supporters. So many great things came out of it. Collaborations, mastermind groups, opportunities to speak and workshops, and just phenomenal opportunity throughout. So I appreciate that crew so much. But, the YouTube channel, I wanted to create a course and I needed an audience for that course. So I decided, well, let's launch the YouTube channel in 2021, create an audience. That way I could funnel them into the course because, as I said earlier, diversify your income. The course was a way that I was going to diversify my income. It was going to be another stream of revenue that I was going to bring in. And so, it's Tina, Master Networks New York region. She's hiding behind the moniker of Master Networks New York region, but that's Tina. Thank you, Tina. You're the best. Appreciate you coming. She could be anywhere and she's here. So awesome. And I wanted to be able to create that course to create another stream of income. So you can't create a course if you don't have an audience, by the way. I figured that out. I was talking with somebody and they're like, well, how are you going to get people into your course? I said, I don't know. You throw it out on the internet, right? And people find it. That's not what happens. You got to get an audience and then you put them into the course. You guide them there. And so when I learned that, I figured, okay, I got to go get an audience. So in 2021, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel, which is how this started out. And as I talk with my friend Maggie, my friend Tina, my friend Teresa, and I was bouncing ideas off them as to how this might look. And boy, talk about having great minds around you to help guide you. They don't know what they meant in my life, but so many decisions I've made have been based on what I've bounced off their brains to get better insight, right? Because my brain, if I relied on my own brain, I'd be spinning in circles a long time ago. But the channel was going to come out. By the end of 2020, I realized, I realized I made the goal, I should say, to create a YouTube channel that was going to make an impact. First, I need to get on there, understand it. So my point in telling you this is I was looking for that course that would help me launch a YouTube channel, a successful one. See, I'm not in this to see how it goes. So here's what's funny. So if you're watching this, even if you catch it on the replay, you're going to laugh. You're going to love this. So my goal for 2021, I can hear the laughter already, is to have 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021, right? And I said this to somebody one time who didn't know me really. And I was just kind of throwing it out there. I hadn't talked about it much. And I told this person the goal and they said, well, how many do you have now? And I said, well, I have 66. At the time I had 66. And they were like, well, 6,600? I said, no, 66. 6. That's right, less than 100. And by the way, I think it's only at like 70 now. So listen, you're hearing it here first. I got 70 subscribers. I want 50,000 by the end of the year. Yeah, humongous goal. So I'm not messing around. So we're 5 weeks into the year. I'm going through this course, and it's teaching me some intense stuff. So part of that is this goal where there's going to be 2 uploads every week. So you're going to be getting videos from me every week, every Tuesday and Friday. Those videos will come out. And the thing is, the channel itself is going to be 2-pronged. It's going to be for designers, for graphic designers, and I'm going to teach them how to make money as graphic designers and really to become brand strategists where they'll really make money, because that's my story, right? That's my story, which I'm going to tell you here in a second. But that's my story. So look, your story is so valuable. Here I am. What is this channel going to be about in 2020? I'm thinking that. What's it going to be about? What the heck am I going to talk about, right? I know branding, but how am I going to talk? What videos am I going to create? What are the topics? This is always the question. What are the topics? But when I became clear, hey, my story is so common that I knew there'd be an audience out there for that. And there's a huge audience of designers who are struggling. It is hard to make money as a designer. It's hard to make money on a regular basis. It's hard to make real money as a designer unless you somehow developed a big name for yourself. If you're a designer and you're watching this on replay, give me an amen. Hashtag struggling graphic designer. Put that in there. I want to hear it because, look, I can relate. I'll tell you in a minute about that. So that's what this is going to be. This is me going live probably twice a month, just to keep the chops up, just to get out there and get one more upload, because to get to 50K by the end of the year, I'm going to need to be doing probably anywhere from 10 to 12 videos a month. I figure, I have no idea. So we're going to see how this is going to go. But what we're going to do here is I want to talk again about how I came to this point, because a lot of people who know me now, they only know me as Unleash My Beast brand. They don't know what happened beforehand. You know, they know me as the guy who looks like this, who dresses like this, who talks like this, right? My videos, if you see my videos, you know, you amp it up a little bit. You got to get that personality going. And I'm a former shy guy, major introvert, scared to talk to people. Like I said, over the years, I had to ramp up so many skills just to be able to talk to people. It was insane. I mean, I was a mess, man. I was a total mess. So how did this start out? How did I go from loser mess to winning in the job world? You know, I didn't start out winning, but I eventually became, you know, manager of creative teams and running departments and turning around departments, and eventually just starting my own business after getting just fed up with the whole job world. But, you know, when I was in my 20s, I was pretty much clueless, pretty much, you know, just insensitive, no people skills, no leadership skills, no relationship skills. I couldn't run a business. I couldn't even run my life. I could barely run a bath. And that's how bad I was. It's just terrible. So like I said, when I got laid off in 13, you know, by then I had ramped up all the skills. That'll be another story. But going from mess to competence was an interesting journey. A lot of books, a lot of seminars, a lot of videos and audios and you name it. But when I got laid off, I figured, I got this. I mean, I was taught how to network, man. Real hardcore, raw, organic, street networking, as in I was trained to go out, go to stores. And when I walk in a store and I saw you, I was like the Terminator, man. I got that red light focused on you. I could go over, strike up a conversation. Inside 10 minutes, we're exchanging business cards and maybe there's an opportunity there for both of us. That's how I was networking. So when you get to that level of networking, which I was petrified to even talk to people, so I had to get over that and then eventually make it kind of normal that I was even talking to a stranger, because not everybody wants to be talked to, believe it or not. I was one of them. But by the time I got laid off, I had the skill. So I thought, they told me it takes about 6 months, right? 6 months to get a new job in that climate in 13. I was like, I'll have one in 3, right? Talk about cocky. Because, and not that it was cockiness, but it was more like I knew how to talk to people and I wasn't afraid of anybody. I wasn't afraid to dial up or reach out or strike up a conversation or call somebody I didn't know or drive into the city, which I hated. But I did that. I met with career coaches and recruiters. I would call up friends of friends and say, hey, can you introduce me to somebody, in the field I was looking for a job in? And I was posting job boards was the last thing I did, by the way. I didn't do that because to me, that was like sending a resume into the black hole. Can you relate to that one? The black hole, people didn't know where the resume was going, if it was being received. Most of the time, I doubt it was, but it was being read by machines, not even people. So how do you get through that? That was a whole, learning in and of itself to how do you get around the machines that read your resume. So I figured I can do all this stuff. I mean, I was working full time looking for a job, and it took me 6 months almost to the day. And here's the weird part, you'd think after I started doing all that stuff, posting on job boards, LinkedIn, reaching out to people, everything, I got one interview in 6 months. And it came from somebody I already knew. In fact, I had known him most of my adult life because he was the husband of a relative's cousin, if that makes sense. But somehow through there, this is a person I saw a couple times a year at family events. And I reached out to him and he gave me a job. So that was pretty cool. Actually, no, that was the second time. The first time was somebody I had previously worked with. That's right, 13. It took me 6 months. I was somebody I previously worked with. So I went through all that nonsense just to hear from somebody that I already worked with and said, hey, I'm at this new company. We could use somebody like you. Why don't you interview? And they created the position for me. And that was when I turned around a creative department. And that was a cool place to work. I was underemployed by about 25 grand. So I had to get out of there real quick. But I learned a lot and I was able to go rogue a little bit, which for me was amazing because they didn't know what happened. The department was in a shambles. They hired me to turn it around. I did that. And that's a great story in and of itself that I'm not going to get into because we're already going too long. But I took that job, knew I had to get another job. I got a little complacent. I was there for 2 years, almost to the day they got rid of me. And not because I was bad, but because of economics. And that one was economics and politics. Because you see, the person that wrecked the department still worked there. I fixed the department, but they got rid of me. Did you catch that? They got rid of me, not the person who wrecked it, right? That's called politics right there. So I was the one who was gone. And I thought, wow, I was humbled by the first time I had to look for a job. So I decided, I'm going to hit it harder. And I hit it harder. It took me 7 months to get a job. But what I did was I didn't just go looking for a job. I remember that day. It was August 8th, 2015. I got laid off and I got ticked off. And I thought, I am not going through this for the rest of my life because now I'm pushing 50. And I went home and I told my wife, I said, I got laid off. I said, but today I'm starting a company that I will retire from. And that was August 8th, 2015. Went home, started the company, started looking for a job. Took me 7 months to get a job. Here it is again. I was pounding it. I was pounding everything, looking for a job, networking, job boards, career coaches, recruiters, calling, emailing, you name it. 7 months, I got one interview. It came from that guy I was talking about earlier that I already knew, family member through a family member, and he gave me a job. So that was it, one interview. I mean, it's crazy. That's how bad the job world is in the creative industry anyway. I was pushing 50, so I know ageism is a factor there, right? You were getting a little bit older. Anybody experience this one? That's the way it is. It's a reality. So I took that job, and actually that was a decent paying job. That got me back up to almost where I was prior to that underemployed job. So I was making much better money, but I wasn't fooled. I knew that the day is gonna come. Two things are gonna happen. One of two things are gonna happen. I'm either gonna lose that job, or they're gonna get rid of me. I'm either gonna leave that job, or they were gonna get rid of me. In other words, I was gonna make enough money in my business that I was gonna leave my own, or they were gonna lay me off, which is inevitable in any job, especially in that climate, in that field, in the creative industry. I knew that was gonna be the case no matter what, if I'd stayed there long enough. So I hustled. I mean, I worked that job, but so I was out the door at 7:15 a.m., returned home at 6 p.m., but mornings, everyday lunch hour, evenings, weekends, I built my business. And I had that dream because there's no way I was going to get laid off again and get caught, because all those years I spent at a job, it just made me broke. And then I kind of caught up again. Then I was broke again. Then I caught up again and broke again. And anybody know this cycle? Man, that's a rough way to go. So I just kept head down, building my business, and was making it happen. And about 3.5 years later, sure enough, called me in, laid me off. Boom, business full time. Right. That was the day I was freed. And that was July 12th of 2019. So not that long as a branding coach, because look, I'd started the business in 15. It was a website and design business. And here's the part I actually wanted to get to. So if you're watching this and you're a graphic designer, look, I was a graphic designer for over 30. Well, I'm a graphic designer for over 30 years. Did freelance work jobs, you name it, side projects, side hustles, whatever the heck you want to call them. I was doing it, and not really making a lot of money. And even in the business, clients were easy to come by. I mean, that first time when I got laid off in 15, I had 6 website clients within the first 6 months. Now, they were all varying price tags, so I wasn't killing it financially, but I had the work. I was just learning, man, just out there and learning. And so doing that, just spinning my wheels, trying to figure out how could I become profitable. Look, I wanted to build a company. I wasn't looking for freelance. And if you understand, to me, freelance is not owning a business. Freelance is hired gun. You get paid for your hands, not for your thoughts, not for your solutions. Just execute what we need you to do. And when the contract's up, you're out looking for another one. That's different from owning a business where you go get clients. You're perceived as an expert. They want your solutions, at least if you position yourself that way. Right? And I do videos on that as well. If you're a graphic designer, check those videos. But the whole idea of becoming a brand strategist did not come into play for a couple of years. And by the way, this whole Unleash My Beast brand thing here, where is it? Right over here? Unleash My Beast brand. This didn't come out for a couple of years after I started the company. So how did that happen? What was that? Well, that was me just grinding and thinking and trying to figure it out. How do I make, to me, what I thought was a lot of money? I wanted to make a lot of money. I would have to make up for lost time. Not that I think money is everything, but money allows you to do amazing things, right? You agree with me? Money allows you to do great things, do good things, give to good charities, do good works, show your family opportunity, create opportunity for your family, take them on vacations, buy good healthcare. When you own a business, you got to make a lot of money, got to pay for healthcare, right? Got to put the kids through college. Did I mention I have 4 kids? I got 4 kids, 2 of them in college, one about to go in and the other one still in high school as well. And so got to make a lot of money. So, hey, Angie Legs here. Thank you for coming, Angie. Oh, Angie's an awesome brand strategist herself. So I'm pretty pumped that she's actually here. Thanks for checking in with us. And by the way, if anybody has any questions about anything I talk about, just pop them down. They'd be happy to answer a question about this story. But it is just my story. Yeah, 4 kids, Angie. That's right. 4 kids. And now a puppy and a kitten. So, I guess we didn't have enough little ones running around the house. We had to go get a couple of pets. So as the older kids leave, the pets will stay there for a while. So anyway, the story is this. After grinding and grinding and grinding, one day I get a call from this guy. I need a website, right? So here's what I was doing. I need a website. I go, okay, how many pages do you want it to be? How many photos do you have? I assume you'll write the copy for it. And they were doing everything. All I was doing was designing and building. So designing based on my style as a designer, right? Maybe they like that, maybe they don't, because designers, we have a personal style about us, and it's hard to design all different ways, although some people are better at it than others. But that doesn't mean that your style, no matter which one you choose, is going to appeal to the client, right? So this guy calls me up and he says this is where the pivotal moment came. Love this part. Guy says to me, yeah, I need a website. See, I just spent $1,100 on a guy. I paid this guy, a web developer, $1,100 to not get a website. And then, could you imagine to not get a website? He goes, we went back and forth for 6 months and he just didn't seem to get me. So even though I kept telling him what I wanted, he kept coming back with designs that just were not me. He goes, so after a while, we just agreed to part ways. He parted with my $1,100 and I still didn't get a website. And I thought to myself, oh, that's a shame. And, I'm trying to empathize with the guy. In my head, I'm thinking, what's going to make me different? What's going to make me different? What is going to be different about my design that he's going to like? How am I going to convince him that my design is right for him? You see the problem here. Design is subjective. And I knew that. And I thought, I'm going to lose this client or we're both going to get frustrated. And I wasn't okay with walking away with somebody's money if I didn't come through. I would have given the money back, honestly. I wouldn't have been that other guy who, took his $1,100 and didn't deliver. I just couldn't do that. To me, it was about doing the right thing. It was about reputation in the area. So I wouldn't have taken his money, but I thought, I'm not going to lose this. So I took a different approach. And he was basically telling me, I'm kind of an underdog in my area. He's a contractor, still in business today, but he's an underdog, a lot more well-established businesses, a lot more resources. They had more advertising budgets. They were advertising everywhere and they were on social media and they had teams to do this stuff. And he was just him and a small crew. And he's like, I need to make an impact. If I had a great brand, then I'd probably be able to compete. And that's kind of what I need to do. I need to be able to, get some of that market share. And he threw that word brand in there and I latched onto it, man. I didn't know a lot about branding, but when he said it, I thought, okay, we need to take a different approach here. I didn't tell him that. I just said, here's how it's going to go. And I interviewed him and I asked him a ton of questions because I wanted to get to the core of, well, how am I going to turn this guy's website into something that's going to be unique and different that people want to call, right? So we did that. And here's what happened. I strategized the questions I asked, things like what were his goals, who's his ideal client. And I didn't know much about branding, but I guess I knew something innately because I knew the right questions to ask, at least enough of the right questions, right? Where I can be more strategic about how I approached it. So once I got all the answers to the questions, I just started turning it over my head. I remember 3 a.m. I wake up in the middle of the night. I grab my iPad. I sketch a logo design. I put it back. I wake up the next morning. I was like, I think I sketched something out, right? And if you're creative people, you ever have this happen? Or anybody really, you get an idea in the middle of the night, you got to write it down. I read that in a book one time. You got to do that. I kept an iPad. You keep a notebook by your bedstand. You get a good idea, write it down in the middle of the night because you'll never remember in the morning. And it could be the idea that changes everything. Anyway, I did that. I woke up the next morning. I'm like, oh yeah, the logo. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm like, this is good. I designed it and it was good, but I knew it was good because I knew it was on brand. So I designed one logo. I designed one website. I wrote the copy for the website in his brand voice. And I put together a presentation and I got with him and I did the presentation for him. And he sat there like this. And if you're Italian, you don't know if this means I'm going to kiss you on the cheek or I'm going to smack you. Right? Because that's how Italians are, right? They sit there, they're all cool. They want you to think, they want you to be scared is what they want. So they sit there all cool. And he goes like this to me. He goes, you nailed it. He goes, I don't know how you did it. It's like you were in my head. And it was that moment that I realized it was the strategy that made it right. See, I did one logo, one website design. If you're a designer, how often does that happen? Never. That's when it happens, is never. But it happened because the strategy made the design effective. It was at that moment I became a brand strategist because I realized my designs, by the way, when I built websites, when I did logos, I had this empty feeling inside. And I thought, well, I don't really want to take people's money because these things aren't going to help them as much as they think they are. If you're a business owner, you buy a logo, you buy a website, unless you're not deluding yourself and you think, well, I know it's just going to be a presence. By the way, web presence is web death. There's no such thing as presence. It's either marketing or it's not. Just so you know that. Let me just be, I'm the first to tell you, sorry, but that's how it is. But if you just reconcile with that it's just going up there, well, then your expectations aren't high. But that's just it. It's not going to do anything for you. So why even bother investing, right? Is the question. Well, the strategy makes the design effective. So what happens is it creates a brand or part of a brand. There's so much more to it that it makes it work. It makes it make sense in people's minds. And at that moment, I became a brand strategist. The part two of that story is what's almost just as interesting, is the fact that I did that for a couple more clients, and I got my clients. They were attracting business to them because they had this brand, right? This thing that attracted people to them, that made them go, I like that. And they wanted to be called, and they did get called, and that's how they attracted business. But then my phone wasn't ringing. I wasn't getting emails. And I thought, I got business for my clients. How come I'm not as busy as my clients are? All right. There's a revelation. And I remember it was one day when I saw a friend of mine. There's a guy who I would only see now and then, but I ran into him, and this is great. Now, keep in mind, at that time, even before that pivotal client, I was hammering social media. I was on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Well, just those videos that I was throwing up there, not really building YouTube, but I had a blog, I had a podcast. I was hammering it all. LinkedIn. I was hammering LinkedIn. I was hammering these things. I ran into this friend of mine. He goes, "Hey, good to see you. It's been a while. What have you been up to?" And I'm like, "What have I been up to?" I'm like, "Come here, let me smack you." I said, "I've only been hammering social media. You don't notice." And it wasn't his fault. The problem was, I realized at that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, my brand's horrible. I have a failure of a brand. See, I had built my brand, right? Translation, the logo, the website, and all that. It wasn't really a brand. It was just a design. To my point, I designed it myself. The amazing Rob G, designer, designed it. You'd think people would flock to his beautiful, designs that were worthy of the Louvre. They would put my website up in the Louvre right next to the Mona Lisa, right? Of course not. It's ridiculous. But it wasn't getting any attention. And so I'll actually share with you real quick. If you're hanging on here, or if you catch this in the replay, nobody's ever seen this before. And I just want to show you something. So I had this brand, right? I'm going to show you that was actually my first website. It was a couple of iterations into the website. It was right before I changed the brand. But what's funny is that brand got no attention anywhere. And I realized that, I had put my clients through a process, a brand process that I never put myself through. And at that time I realized that I'm like, oh, my brand's horrible. Oh, let me put myself through my process. See, because I believe that if the process is good, trust the process. Marcus Lemonis, The Prophet. All right. Hashtag The Prophet. If you're a fan, awesome show. Trust the process. If my process is good, then it should work for me. I created the process, and even though it's going to be my brand, if the process is good, it should work on myself. So I objectively answered all my own questions and put myself through it as objectively as I could. And what came out the other side was completely different. Well, it was this whole Unleash My Beast brand thing that was revealed in the brand sense, in the core of what it was, not the logo, not the name. That came after, but it was the essence of what it was. Came out the other side. Excuse me. And so I want to show you this. So what was so bad about the first brand? The opposite. So branding is this. Branding is the art of differentiation. Global brand expert David Breyer coined that definition. Branding is the art of differentiation. You differentiate yourself from everybody else in your field, your competitors, or any, direct competitors, or any other competition that you're going up against. How do you differentiate yourself? It's not by satisfaction guaranteed, or 30 years in business, or our customers are special and we treat them all, relationships first. That's not differentiation. That's just good business, right? You need something that differentiates yourself. So what my original brand was, and I'm using that term loosely because it wasn't a brand, but I don't know what else to call it to give you a frame of reference. But what it was was just more of the same. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to bring this up in a second here. It was just really more of the same. And so you're going to see what I mean in a second, that this whole thing here, and look at this, what an ego. I had my name in the name of the company. You see that there, Genovese Web Design and Marketing. Like, how much more generic could it get outside of the name Genovese, which, you know, at one point I had a little tagline in there. It said something about, something about design, and it said under it, mob rules, little tongue-in-cheek humor. May as well leverage it a little bit, a little bit, leverage the name a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Genovese, you get it? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So Genovese was the only thing that was unique. That's just my name, but that didn't really mean anything. Web design and marketing. That's what I got out of it. That's what people were seeing. And see the logo here? Like, check this out. Like, how brilliant am I? Let me not create a new logo, a different logo. Let me, hey, have you seen the Chrome logo, by the way? Or how about the any logo that looks like this? The original iPhoto logo, the Picasso logo, like these sphere type logos. Like, I pretty much just copied what I saw, but I didn't do it intentionally. It just happened that way, that I thought this was great. And, the three colors represented something. So it did make sense in a way. It wasn't just a arbitrary logo. But look at this. I mean, this is as generic as it gets. You look at the imagery here. Like, how many times have you seen a stock photo like this? It's just ridiculous. And so, it just blended in. So you built it, and now brand it. And you even, as I scroll down, what is branding? Hey, look at that. There's an original photo, right? How many times have you seen something like that? I think it's probably one of the most widely used stock photos ever. And I had to choose the same one, but who isn't doing anything like that? Look, it looks clean. It's not particular, not very exciting though. Not exciting at all. Like, I did these icons, brand identity. Oh, what's that? Telling people what this stuff is. Here's what a logo is. And here's what color is all about. Now, I teach this stuff, but to put it on your website, like, show me brand identity. Here, I have a quote. Yeah, so that's a good quote there. That's fine. A testimonial. Oh, branded websites. Google friendly, right? SEO, highly secure, editing control. Look, these are great, but this is more of the same. This was the problem. Everybody's saying this. That's not differentiation. That's the same thing. So the opposite of differentiation is blending in. And that's exactly what this did. It just blended in. So watch this. If you know me and you're hanging in there for a little bit, check this out. Who's this guy? Look at this. Look at that. I look a little different now, just slightly different. I was much younger then, of course. But look at this. Click on this. Go here. Look at this guy. Who's this guy? Look at that. Most people don't know I actually have gray hair, but thanks to the wonders of certain hair color products, I have dark hair now. And you can see it took me about 53 years, but I finally grew this in. I didn't have it back then. So one day it just kind of came in, but I didn't have that look. I wore collared shirts back then. All right. I wore these collared shirts, because I had to look like a true business professional. Took this selfie in my living room, because that was my professional portraiture right there. And so, how funny is that, right? About us. It was really about me. That's all it was. Brand identity would go here. Oh yeah, did this for my wife's company, and hey, here's my process. So this was good stuff, actually. Showing a process is always good. It's not the best, but it's what I had. And look, a form. How many times have you seen that, right? And then we go up to the top here, websites. Look at this. What is the real purpose of a website? Full service. That's my company. Full service, design, host, support. Look at these icons. Give me a hashtag yawn if you've ever seen these icons before. Hashtag yawn if you've seen icons just like this, and you put them on your site, or you've seen them on a site, and yeah, it's just a lot more of the same. So the design process. Look at this. More of the same icons. And look, I was doing the best I could, right? Doing the best I could. More stock photo. And look, I'm nothing against stock photo, but it's just that everybody was using these same ones. Like, this one's a little bit different, not much. Search engine optimization, because that was going to be something that was going to separate me. I'll pay attention to SEO, web hosting, because I was hosting it. Some of my clients, some of my past clients, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, I was doing a blog at the time, right? Stay Site and Business Savvy. So look, just more of these plenty. Just completely forgettable. And that's what was happening. Look, contact page looks like every other one. So look, and again, it's not that it was bad, but it's not different. So if it's not different, then what good is it? People want differentiation. As we wind down here, I'm going to show you something. So what is it today? And a lot of people that know me, they know what it is today because it's the only thing they know me as. But you look at the difference. When you look at this one, my site as it is now, a little bit different. So what is this? It is completely different right off the bat, right? Boom, you're hit over the head with strong imagery, strong headline, call to action right underneath. But look, this isn't more of the same. What is a beast brand? Look, I put a video over there. Look, it looks like I'm yelling at you. I'm not really yelling at you. I'm just yelling to you, like calling you out, calling you over. I want to help, right? But the images, this one's a little stocky, but look at the guy with the hammer. I'll get around to changing these to make them more custom, but you can see right away that I'm putting a little different stance out there with an image like this one with this couple that it has nothing to do with business, but that's what it is. Who qualifies as a beast brand? Look, the whole idea, again, the core of what the beast brand is not me. It was never meant to be that people were going to call me the beast brand, right? What this really was me just saying, at the core of my brand, I believe this about my company. You got to have guts. You got to kick fear aside. You got to take risk. You got to be aggressive in business. And if you don't have those qualities, forget it. You're not my client, because I know it takes those in order to build a strong brand. And so that's what the Beast brand came out of. The name and the logo, the mark, the Beast thing here, this came after I identified what my company was all about, what it actually was. And so then it just got fleshed out all over the place. The color, everybody knows orange is my color, right? I had these shirts made up, this was actually not intentional, but this whole goatee, this facial hair thing was not intentional. But, once you immerse yourself in your brand, you just really start to become the brand and you start to live it. So it all starts to come together and make sense and be cohesive. Angie says purple. Yeah, Angie, I chose purple. It was strategic. It's not it was my favorite color or anything, but purple, think about it. Go surf the web. Go look at companies. See how many use the color purple, right? And then get back to me. Tell me what color. Here's trivia. Tell me the most used color across the internet for any business. All right, and you put it in the comments. We're going to see who wins that one. And that's why I chose purple, because nobody was using it, honestly. And orange, same thing. Orange, if you're wondering, orange is energy. Orange is happiness. It's heat. It's movement. So that's why orange, and the font is movement and strength, because it's very bold. And so all these came together to form this new brand that I made. And listen, here's the thing. It's not that I was basically the same person in a way, but I changed the business model. I changed the strategy. I changed the brand. Even that, people didn't know what I was about or what I did. But within 2 months, I changed all my branding across social media, all the visuals, brand new website, put up the brand, ripped the old website down, put up the new one. In less than a month, I did all that. And within 2 months, I was getting lots of attention. People were reaching out to me on social media. Hey, love the Beast brand. What's this? This is new. I love this. People, I don't know, I'm kind of scared of this. That's okay too. I'm not for everybody, but I was getting attention. And that's what made the difference. Getting attention is the name of the game. Look, if you want to win in business, you've got to flush the emotions. You got to disconnect a little bit from what you feel sentimental about. But if that meant anything, I should have kept the old stuff. It had my name in the name of the company. I designed it all. It was well designed. I poured my guts into it. If sentimentality meant anything, I should have held on to it. But I meet business owners all the time who won't disconnect from something that's not working. Man, I ripped it down and I rebuilt it. And the result was I got a brand that started blowing up and has been blowing up ever since. In fact, it's got me opportunities I couldn't even believe. But see, that whole idea from that one client changed me into a brand strategist, changed my mindset on number one, how to help people, because that's my mission. And that's what this YouTube channel is all about. I'm out to help people. I want to help people build a strong brand, and I want to help designers use a strategic approach at the very least. But hopefully you want to become a brand strategist. If you're a designer and you're watching this, my story is any indicator of what can be had, because I got clients. And by the way, we talk about money. Can we talk about money for a split second? The same website work I was doing before, after I applied the strategy and leveled up my clients, I was making 2 and 3 times the amount of money for the same work. And was I ripping off the new clients? No. I was driving the price down on the former clients in order to get the job. I was driving the price lower to get the work, and it wasn't working. I try and teach this all the time to people. Stop lowering your prices. Level up your game. Remember, I got double and triple the fee for the same kind of work after I took a strategic approach. Hello, graphic designers. Are you listening? All right. So that's what I'm going to be teaching on this channel. And if you're not a designer, that's cool, because I got playlists on how to level up your brand, how to build a powerful brand. Head on over to my website, unleashmybeastbrand.com. If you want to talk about, you will need help leveling up your brand or getting a new brand or rebranding or whatever it is. I do brand assessments. I do brand strategy. I do brand coaching. If it has to do with branding, I do it. So you can pop over to that website. That's like my hub. You can find all my social media links over there. You want to follow me for a while before you make a decision. But I offer all those services. But keep coming back here, because again, I got 2 uploads every single week. I got a live about twice a month. I'll work up to that, maybe doing it every single week in the future. But I'm going to be dropping all kinds of great branding knowledge and insight for you to build your brand, strengthen it up, because look, no matter what business you're in, once you get a strong brand, it's going to do the heavy lifting for you and allow you to attract clients to you. And I have clients that do that today, and they're experiencing, they're loving their business again. And that's probably one of the best parts about what I do, is helping business owners fall in love with their business again. So that's kind of my story. And there's a lot more details in there. Maybe I'll talk about some of that over, in another time, maybe another live, or maybe not. But the point is, I kind of wanted to throw it out there. Do this live for the first time. See how it goes. It's really just a test. So if you came by expecting some great knowledge and you just heard me going on and on again on about myself, thank you for coming by. But stories inspire, and no matter whose story is being told, everybody loves a good story. Everybody loves a good overcoming story. And so I hope that maybe inspired or maybe gave some insight into my life as to why I do what I do. I love it so much, and I'm just able to give back. This is my purpose in life. This is what I realized, what I was meant to do. It's something that I understand completely, but I'm always learning more, always keeping on top of my game, and always leveling up. Never stop learning, right? So that's it. I want to just say again, I want to thank you for joining me on this live. And if you catch the replay, just hashtag replay. And if you have any comments or questions, you can drop them below. I'll be monitoring this afterwards. I'll answer any questions, any comments, just high fives or whatever for that. Appreciate you. And if you want to not miss any of the videos that come out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified of new videos that are coming out so you don't miss anything, because I got lots of good stuff coming out in the future. So appreciate you all for coming by, for staying if you stayed, for catching this on the replay, and I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome day.